Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakadosh, Barakatam, to the elders and apostles of Group Stone, as well as the bishops and evangelists. This is Brother Menashe at DC Camp, and greetings and salutations to the Akim and Akwat throughout the four corners of the earth, holding on in sincerity and in truth to this gospel of Lord Amashak Yahushai. So you see on the screen another rumor of wars, alright, that is brewing over there in West Africa, in the country of Niger, alright, and Jake's over there, man, the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi are basically pissed up with the puppet leaders of the West, and it's just getting chaotic. All right, and you know how it is, man. Once the so-called puppet leaders of our people decide to join hands with Esau, you could always see that greed becomes apparent, right? Becomes very, very visible, and I've seen it myself too. You know, you see the lavish lifestyle of these so-called government officials. So they're just as worse as the so-called government officials here in Babylon, and it's just part of the routine. You know, it's part of the routine, and it's just the rulership of Esau has shown the world how corrupt people can become, and our people are basically oppressed, and they're looking for a solution. But the puppets of the West over there are basically holding the line, and they're all justing anyway. So it's a mess, right? It's a mess. That's why we need the Lord of Mashiach to return. So France is basically concerned about the situation over there because they have resources they want to tap into, just like uranium. They got gold, they got oil, they got other things there too. And you know, the elites, man, they want their so-called colonies to keep on coughing up resources, just like you have in Congo, you have in Nigeria, you have in Ghana. You know, if you're talking about cocoa, if you're talking about oil, if you're talking about cobalt, coltan, you name it, man. Diamond, even though it's not that important, silver, gold, yeah, uh, bitumen, uh, steel, all that stuff. Esau wants a piece of it, man. He wants that, and that's how the elites get their resources. All right, they have to put puppets in there to keep the flow into their coffers. All right, so I read from the book of Second Ezra. All right, yeah, it's just part of the journey. Ever since those African countries, so-called African countries, gain independence, it's been nothing but headaches for the people. You know, the puppetry just becomes much more interesting, all right, despite the loss of lives, and pledges been made, all right. It's basically the continent is basically drowning in death. You know, that's the curse that the Lord put upon our people. You know, to be a nation of borrowers, all right. So, Second Ezra chapter 15, verses 1 and 2 says this: Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. So the words of the scriptures, the words of prophecy, are meant for the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, all right? Which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord, all right? Which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord. So whatever words of vision that the Lord put in the minds of the prophets have to be spoken into the people. That's why the apostles, the elders, and bishops, Akim, they keep on putting out relevant information, relevant breakdowns to keep our people up to date on what they need to do concerning their salvation. All right, every single topic that they can address is being taken care of. Okay, and verse 2 says, "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." So the scriptures has been preserved throughout millennia, so our people could have access to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord, to know exactly how they're supposed to proceed in times of uncertainty, in times of trouble, in times of distress. All right. So you got Jakes over there in Africa, man. They're upset with the puppet leaders and decide to push a coup. So coups are nothing new over there in Africa, man, because as long as it benefits the elites of Esau, they don't really have a problem with it, and countless Jakes have lost their lives since the 60s, even before that, man, because the puppets decide to go with the agenda of Esau. So the Lord is turning the tide, slowly but surely, and you just have to deal with it, man. You have to prepare yourself. You have to be watching circumspectly, because the Lord already talked about these things happening. So Jake just want to align themselves with Russia so they could get rid of the fakery, of these jihadist groups that are tools of the West, all right, used to suppress the peace of mind of our people. And I'll play this clip briefly, and I'll fast forward to the 2-minute mark. So you see they're burning the French flag over there. The people are in the streets. They're using the Russian flag. Yeah, so you see the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Here, so they're pissed off with one of the heads of the dragon. All right, they're pissed off with NATO because France basically represents NATO, represents the EU, and the EU and NATO are tools of the elites to retain power upon the face of the earth. So that's just simple knowledge, It's a collection, it's a gathering of the minds of these super elites that want to have dominion from sea to shining sea, from the North Pole to the South Pole. All right, so it's just part of the agenda that the Lord has already made known unto us. So if I read another quick precept, it's going to be from the book of Job. Job chapter 9, verse 24. And it reads, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Yeah, so our people are beginning to wake up. They see the constant hypocrisy of the puppets of the West in Africa, and even in the Caribbean, even in the Northern Kingdom over here in the North, Central, and South America. All right, so it's becoming evident, which countries are going along with the agenda of the IMF and the World Bank and the WEF, and yeah, the people are waking up. The age of information is here, and people are beginning to tap into that opportunity to learn as much as they can. And you have a lot of people, starting their channels, bringing forth information that we've not heard before about the agenda of the elites over there in Africa. You hear the exposure about their so-called health programs, their so-called financial packages, their so-called diplomatic acrobatics, So it's just something that is becoming more relevant for the people to understand. And they know that when you have opportunities and you don't have a chance to maximize it, people become frustrated. All right, and crime becomes the order of the day. Crime becomes something that the people want to engage in. You know, smuggling and all that stuff. Even carjackings over here in the so-called DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, is just a result of people losing hope. You know, after being subjected to unscrupulous and unrighteous policies of Esau, that's the result. You know, that's the result. So it's something we all have to consider. You know, when there is poverty, when there is oppression, people resort to crime out of desperation. They don't care or have regard for the elders. They don't care about having a peaceful state of mind. This society descends into chaos, and the politicians don't really care because hey, they are insulated by these so-called law enforcement agencies. All right, so they continue to play the game and manipulate it to their agenda and keep the people divided. So that's enough rant over there. Go to the book of Matthew, chapter 24. This is what it says in verse 9. It says, actually, go to verse 6. And Yahweh Shai, alright, said this, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Alright, so it's gonna be the warming up of adversity, the warming up of words, you know, hot air, and so-called ECOWAS, you know, because I used to live in Nigeria for over 15 years. So, you know, those so-called leaders there trying to restore order by talking about having a force on the table as an option to restore the former government of Niger. And, you know, Nigeria is basically in the pockets of the elites. You know, same thing with Ghana, Cameroon, you know, you name it, man. Even Senegal, you know, they're all in the hands of the elites. So they have their you know, their managers over there. So it's just part of the agenda because, you know, nice to work as a security officer, as to see all these movements. And you just see, you know, who's who coming in from these different African countries, the delegations meeting with presidents and dignitaries, heading up to the Pentagon and all that stuff. You know, State Departments, you know, granting interviews. You know, it's not just African countries. You have Asian countries. You know, the Cambodia, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Vietnam. They all coming to America, you know, to get some things ironed out. Yeah, so that shows you how powerful, you know, American empire is, and you just stay there as an observer and understand the reason why the Lord has put these things in place. So I had my chance, man, to see exactly, you know, what's going on, interact, and this CBDC stuff is no joke. From what I've observed, from what I've heard, you know, firsthand, it's just you know, the Lord moving, man. The Lord has to move the chess pieces in place. And, you know, you cannot be upset. You cannot be angry. It's all part of the plan, you know, towards our salvation. The Lord has to pump up the rulership of Esau so he can deflate it. And, hey, it's nothing more, you know, we can do. But let the Lord handle his work. So, I'll play this clip some more and fast forward to the 2 minute mark. You're gonna hear the people. All right. Yeah. So I just play this real quick. No, let me start from here.
Soutien à notre force de défense et de sécurité. S'il y a des jeunes qui font sortir le drapeau de la Russie, nous ne sommes pas contre, c'est parce qu'ils ont vu un peu dans la sous-région le rapport de coopération de certains pays avec la Russie. On sent qu'il y a un traitement d'égalité et c'est pourquoi ils ont fait sortir ces drapeaux.
Nous avons l'uranium, nous avons le diamant, nous avons l'or, nous avons le pétrole. Et on vit comme des esclaves. Pourquoi? Jusqu'à quand? On ne pourra pas l'accepter. La base française du Niger doit quitter. On n'a pas besoin de...
Yeah, so Jake is upset, man. You know, talking about all the resources they have and they cannot benefit from it. Why? Because there's so much evil in the minds of these so-called leaders that the people cannot enjoy the resources. You know, it's just like a curse when you have these puppet leaders siphoning the funds meant for the country into their coffers. You know, putting money in foreign banks, Switzerland, England, or wherever, France. You know, so Isaiah chapter 1 verse 23 says, Thy princes are rebellious and companion of thieves. So all these so-called leaders in these African countries, man, you know, that are in the bed with the elites of Esau, they basically, you know, scammers and thieves, man. You know, they're robbing their own people by making false deals with Esau, with the dragon, all right? Then it says, Everyone loveth gifts, and followeth after rewards. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. So they in the bubble, man, in the bubble of greed, in the bubble of lip service. All right, and when they do their checkups, they rather go overseas to the Esau's country, man, in America, England, or France, or Germany, or Switzerland, wherever they want to go. They fly outside the country, man. You know, whether they want to go to Saudi Arabia, what difference does it make? They have no confidence in their own people since they are undermining the progress of their own people. That's just how messed up the their mindset is, all right? And then verse 24 says this, Thus for, saith the Lord, the power, all right? Yahweh talks about what? The Lord of hosts, the mighty one of Yasharala. I will ease me of mine adversaries and avenge me of mine enemies. So the Lord has to bring judgment upon the false leaders of our people, man. These puppetry leaders, man. All right? And I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy thing. All right? So all that idea of being a puppet for the West, the Lord is coming to visit that, man. The Lord is coming to address that very, very, very soon, all right? So that's just how upset and angry the Lord is that the poor of our people are not being considered by their so-called rulers, all right? And this is what the Lord would do to conclude the matter after he has destroyed the Western Empire and eliminated the excuse of our people to go along, to get along with Esau. Verse 26 says, And I will restore thy judges as at the first. So our nation, the nation of Israel, shall return unto righteousness, and thy counselors as the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness. So that's the promise from the Lord, and we're waiting for that to happen, all right? And you know how it is, man. The Lord has to purge, man. The Lord has to destroy all these so-called leaders and governors that have turned a blind eye to the cause of the poor, and they've enriched themselves with the resources that are meant to keep the people fulfilled, all right? So the Lord is gonna bring judgment, man. You're gonna see the heavy hand of the Lord moving over there in West Africa against these puppets. So wherever they are, man, no one's gonna escape judged. So I'll play this clip some more. So it says this: we have oil and we live like slaves. Why should we? Until when? We cannot accept it. All right. So I'll rewind it a little bit more and let it play. All right. So it's saying what the French base in Niger must leave. We need the French to keep. We don't need the French to keep us safe. Yeah. So they don't want nothing to do with France. Fake promises ever since the fall of Gaddafi in Libya. The spread of those jihadis, man, has become a problem. And Esau is the cause, man. He's the cause. Of the same thing that was done in Syria, that's it. You got U.S. troops over there in Syria, holding off all field, holding off a region, running coverage for this Islamists or whatever, man, so-called militia groups. Yeah, so that's just how Esau maintains his power. He has to take a chunk out of a country's land and put his troops in there, and then whatever band of mercenaries he can drum up and train them, he would do it. All right. So I play this part. You see that says we have uranium, we have diamonds, we have gold. So all those things are necessary for propping up Esau's empire. All right. So just imagine if there's a disruption in the gold supply. That's going to cause gold prices to go up. And then you also hear that France has nuclear reactors, nuclear plants that they use uranium to power their economy. And just imagine when the supply goes, that's it. And they also have Jake's talking about Russia's dependence on natural gas from Russia. And now there's a disruption. There was a blowing up of that pipeline, all right? The pipeline that's supposed to deliver natural gas to Germany, all that stuff, the Russian pipeline. And now here's another issue, for supply. And it just shows you, man, that it's always confusion in Esau's kingdom. And that's just what it is, man. So the West and Russia are basically going at it, man. And then the cooperation and the corruption of the puppets of our people is also adding fuel to the matter. And that's why you see this Jakes raising the flags of Russia, all right? And that's just what it is.
On vit comme des esclaves. Pourquoi? Jusqu'à quand? On ne pourra pas l'accepter. La base française du Niger doit quitter. On n'a pas besoin de Français pour nous sécuriser. La démocratie ne fonctionne pas parce qu'on n'a pas impliqué le peuple. Voilà.
Yeah, so, they drunk the cup. They drunk of the cup of the whore that sat upon many waters, the so-called cup of democracy, and it's not working well for the people. The illusion of human rights is not working. All right, so get a book of Ezekiel chapter 21, and read verse 27. It says, I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he whose right it is, and I will give it him. So that's just what the Lord has proposed to do. The Lord has to turn upside down the rulership of this world. All right, the Lord has to destroy the puppet system that our people have been a part of, and have the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, clean up shop. The Lord Hamashiach Yahushai has to clean up shop All right, that's why you read in Psalms talks about the Lord has to make the enemies, his footstool. You know, he told Lord Amashak, Yahushua, sit down at my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. So this is just the process. The elites of this world know it. All right, they see the signs in the heavens. They see the oppression. They see the frustration and the protests of the people, and they know that their time is numbered. All right, they know that things are about to go into overdrive, and they have to do whatever they can to stay relevant. And the Lord has already given them a timeline, you know, that they are not going to be able to achieve, okay, and attain. And Job chapter 14, verse 5, seeing his days are determined and the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass, right? So the rulership of Esau has a deadline, and it's approaching it very, 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 very fast. It's like a woman hitting the wall. Yeah, the horse about to hit the wall, all right? And the wall is undefeated, all right? Job chapter 14, verse 5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou has appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Yeah, so that's just the agenda of the Lord to set up Esau's kingdom in slippery places. The Lord has to set them up on the path of slipperiness to have them destroy themselves, you know. And it's just how the Lord operates, man. The Lord has to make it possible for the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua to return and wreak havoc on the empire of the dragon. All right. So we go to the book of Jeremiah, verse 49. I'm going to read verse 13 and 14. It says, for I have sworn by myself, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shabash Kadash, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes. And that's America's destiny. All right, the elites know it. That's why they have their underground bunkers. That's why they have so much going into construction of hidden structures, right? Hidden places to weather out the destruction coming upon the earth, right? And that's what it is, man. They know America is going to fall. So that's why they have their contingency plans, okay? And then verse 14 says, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, all right? A rumor, words of the Lord, procurements, all right, from the Lord Yahweh, Shema Shaba, Shema Kakadash, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen, all right? And that ambassador is the nation of Russia, the bear, all right? Gog and Magog, all right? Saying, gather ye together and come against her, rise up to the battle, all right? So that's just the sentiment that's coming up, you know, when Russia is making alliances with these African countries, so they can push out the agents of instability. That just shows you that NATO is losing ground, all right? NATO is losing ground. Despite all the atrocities, you know, they were able to foster for decades and centuries. This is it, man. That's why they have to push all these agenda of lockdowns, okay? So they have to pull the plug from their financial system to turn the nations of the world into beggars again, okay? So they want to force the people back into servitude, you know, just like I always say. No plantation owner wants a runaway slave, so they have to do something. They have to have an overseer, and NATO is basically an overseer for the elites. They have to keep the slaves, on the plantation, on the reservation. So that's a mess. Esau's kingdom is divided. The West and Russia are just going at it, man. Okay, so it's just part of what we have to look forward to. And one more precept you like to go and also consider: corruption is something that kills our people from the head all the way to the ankles, man, even to the toes. All right. So the book of Sirach, I like this precept so much. It says, "Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away." All right. So that's the puppetry of our people, man. The puppet show, what they want to call them, Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP. It doesn't change. Black Lives Matter. Whenever there's money, they're gonna stick their necks in there to get a piece of that pie. Have their so-called NGOs do the leg work to move the money from one shell corporation to the other. Have a false invoice. Overinflated invoices. Yeah. So it says, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. So they have ulterior motives. They become opportunists. All right. Yeah. So they could stab the people in the back. Verse 2 says, "As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stone, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling." So there's always going to be corruption when you have unscrupulous parties involved in commerce. All right. So the people that's supposed to benefit from having the resources can get the benefits. They're not deriving any benefits from it. If the government so-called finds out, oh well, this land has resources on it and people are there, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna push the people off. So that's the idea that you have to let sink into your mind, man. That there's so much evil. Even up there in Canada, man, when this government realizes that what, we got some resources up there where the Guidites stay, they want to have the courts push and just do whatever they want to do to wiggle their way up in there. And then you have the mountain troops, the Royal Canadian Mountain, what they're going to call them, RCMP. They do the dirty work. So end of the day, man, it's just a shit show. So it's just gonna be a mess, to behold, because that's how the Lord has set it up, man. There has to be chaos between the poor and the rich of this world, because why? Unrighteousness is the order of the day. There is no peace. All right, there is no peace. All right. So another precept will be from the book of Isaiah chapter 10. And this is verse 20. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Yasharallah, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more stay upon him that smote them." All right. So our people that get delivered out of the land of drawing waters, out of the captivities where they've served the dragon, they've served the so-called Europeans, they've served the Arabs, they've served the Hamites, they've served the Asians. They're not going to depend on them anymore. All right, and that's what the scripture is saying. "But they shall stay upon the Lord." They're going to depend upon the Lord, the Holy One of Yasharallah, in truth, right? Amat. Yeah. So that's what our people are looking forward to. So right now, these people are basically spiritually blind. They're not calling upon the Lord, and the Islam is a stumbling block for them. But they're beginning to see that it's not working. And so what's going to happen? What the Lord has to emerge over there. And you'll be surprised, man, how powerful the word of the Lord is. So it says on the screen, that's what it's all about. It's the power of the people for the people. Yeah, so when the people need the resources and they can get access to the benefits of it, it creates anger, resentment, and it causes so much tension and a confrontation, man. All right?
C'est le pouvoir du peuple pour le peuple. Le peuple n'est pas impliqué, c'est une question d'argent. On a peuporisé le peuple nigérien pour le faire dépendre de petites sommes. Et comme on a appauvri les gens, on leur donne 500 pour voter. Donc il n'y a pas de démocratie.
Yeah, so despite the issues of January 6th, I see this type of agenda coming to America, man, because the way the government is going, it's just only a matter of time that the people hit the streets, man. They're gonna say F all these so-called law enforcement agencies, man, because they've gotten enough proof, whether it's from the police department to the sheriff department to the FBI, NSA, whatever, IRS, State Department, they've all, contributed to the demise of their families. Okay, whether it's the CDC, whether it's the Department of Health and Human Services, whether it's the Pentagon, they've all collaborated to make their lives miserable by siding with the elites. And that's what happens, man. When you have an imbalance of power, an imbalance of concerns, it becomes a negative environment to grow. All right, and people just begin to go against each other, man. They have no regard for the authorities, since the authorities have betrayed the trust of the people. So end of the day, man, it's gonna crumble, man. I see no other way, for America, man. It's just gonna crumble. There is no prayer, in hell that can save America. And these agents know it, man. They're upset, but hey, when the men of the Lord speak, they take notes, and if they want to censor the brothers' channels, it doesn't change anything, because they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. All right, they can't really speak out, otherwise they're gonna get thrown under the bus. They're gonna get evaporated, all right, and shut down. And they're upset, that they see that their power, their dream of having a stable life, a stable source of goodies is vanishing. It's vanishing just away like smoke from a cigarette, just like a perfume, man. Just like a perfume. No perfume that you can spray on your body, no fragrance cannot last. It's gonna wear off eventually. So that's just the agenda that is gonna become more apparent in the coming months as the Lord reveals, His plans to His servants, the elect upon the face of the earth. And another precept to look into is going to be from the book of Sirach, chapter 15. I'm going to read verses 4 and 6. All right, so yeah, we're not going to depend on Esau no more, man. The world is going to depend upon righteousness. Even the heathen will have to depend upon the righteousness that comes from the Lord, to have a clear line of sight of what they need to do to protect to protect their livelihood, to maintain peace and order. All right, so Sirach chapter 15 verse 4, it says that he shall be stayed upon her and shall not be moved, and shall rely upon her and shall not be confounded. So when you have fear of the Lord, just like in verse 1 says, he that fear of the Lord will do good, and he that had the knowledge of the Lord shall obtain her. So that's what we're looking forward to. The men of the Lord have to obtain wisdom. All right. Once you have an affinity for the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord, Amashaki Awashai, Bashim Kakadash, you begin to see things differently. All right. You're gonna have what? The opportunity to depend upon the Lord, and you will not be moved, and you shall rely upon her and shall not be confounded. So your thought process is gonna be pure, stable, and focused. All right. And then verse 5 says, she shall exalt him above his neighbors, and in the midst of the congregation shall she open his mouth. So we're going to be moved with the Spirit of the Lord. All right, we're going to be moved by the Spirit of the Lord to speak words of wisdom to our people, to guide our people in the path that they need to go. All right, verse 6 says, he shall find joy and a crown of gladness, and she shall cause him to inherit an everlasting name. Yeah, so once your name is in the book of life, that's it, man. The book of salvation, that is all, that we can ever hope for. Once that requirement has been fulfilled to have your name written in the book of life, book of immortality, that's it. All the perks will just fall in line. So that's what we're looking forward to, man. And the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 17 says that. Okay, it reflects that. All right, it says, but Yashar'Allah, all right, Israel shall be saved in the Lord Yahbashim Ashah, Bashim Kakadash, with an everlasting salvation. And what does that mean? You're going to have your name written in the book of life, in the book of salvation, in the book of immortality. All right? The tree of immortality, all right, shall be a part of you. All right? You shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Yeah, so you can always link Isaiah chapter 45 with the book of Sirach, chapter 15, verses 4 to 6. In fact, from verse 1 all the way to 6. In fact, the whole chapter is good. All right. So that was the point there, Hakim. That's the point there. We cannot run away from what the Lord has ordained is going to happen. All right. And all you can do is just roll with the flow, man. Roll with the flow of the Spirit. So that's the point there, Hakim. Apparatus, you've been edified. And remember, man, the Lord has to stir up that spirit for war, the spirit of the rumors of war around the four corners of the earth, because there has to be a new rulership upon the face of the earth. All right, there has to be a new rulership. And let me just wrap it up with this one more it's one more precept, man. All right, just to take care of business. All right. So this is a book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakadash. All right. The hand of the Lord, Ba'ashim Ashai, Ba'ashim Kakadash. And in due time, he will set over it one that is profitable. And that's what we are witnessing. All right. The Lord is making it possible to prepare the way for this prophecy to take place, so the Lord Amashaki Awashai can reign over the earth, so the Israelites can reign over the earth and bring forth fruits meet for repentance. Bring forth the result of the fruits of repentance. Our repentance now, you're gonna see the results of it in the kingdom. All right, that's the point I'm trying to drive at, okay? And that's all it is, man. Order. All right, you have to learn to keep your house in order, and that's why the Lord has to put the Israelites in power. Shalom.